Hello and welcome to KO. It's great to be back and what a fantastic show we have for you. A bit later we chat with Renato Cornett, plus we have a special little piece on the charismatic Howard Coselll. But as usual, to get us underway, let's check the news hitting the headlines.
In his first 142 fights.
Jake LaMotta, who was the first man to ever beat the great Sugar Ray Robinson, has filed a $50 million lawsuit against Swissair following the death of his only surviving son on the ill-fated Flight 111. LaMotta's suit alleges the crash was caused by electrical or structural failure and accuses Swissair of negligence by allowing the plane to be flown even though a dangerous and unsafe condition existed aboard the jet. Don King could have his Florida promoter's license revoked because of allegations that he paid $100,000 to a commissioner on that state's athletic board to ensure favourable treatment. He's also being sued by rival promoter Cedric Kushner, who claims King signed a Kushner fighter, Hashim Rahman, even though he knew the boxer was already under contract. The mix-up prevented Rahman from fighting David Tua on the Lewis Mavrovic undercard. If Felix Trinidad can finally break free of his contract with King, he's already set for a December 5 match with Pernell Whitaker, who's been quietly training in San Antonio for the proposed showdown. Angel Manfredi, one of the most talented and exciting fighters in the sport at the moment, has turned down a shot at IBF lightweight champ Shane Mosley. Earlier this year, Manfredi scored a dominating victory over warhorse Arturo Gatti.
Manfredi with 2 shots. May have hurt Gatti there. Big shots here by Manfredi. Angel Manfredi going to work. It didn't figure to be pretty, but it figured to be exciting, and Gatti is down. Hurt by that hook. He walks into a bomb. Lands a right hand. Manfredi back. Gatti just misses with the right hand behind the jab. Gatti is running out of time. And the doctor will take a look at this.
While talks continue of a possible unification battle between Evander Holyfield and Lennox Lewis, it looks as though the real deal will face WBA mandatory challenger Henry Akinwande. This fight was originally scheduled for June, but when it was discovered Akinwande had hepatitis, the fight was postponed. Meantime, Lewis could fight Buster Douglas's conqueror, Luz Savaras, although rumour has it the latest Great White Hope is penciled in to face Tyson on his return. And it's panic stations at the new-look Team Tyson. With a $13 million tax bill hanging over his head, Tyson is desperate to get back into the ring before the end of the year. But with his psychological test yet to be filed with the Nevada State Athletic Commission, time is running out. If the tests are not delivered by Friday, his second hearing before the Commission, set for October 19, will be cancelled, further reducing the former champ's chances of returning to boxing by year's end. And with Jeff unavailable, I'm joined by the editor of the World of Boxing, Ray Wheatley. And Ray, the soap opera that is Mike Tyson continues. There's been rumours going around everywhere, one of them being that Mike Tyson actually doesn't want to fight anymore.
Well, the latest that I've got on it, Mathew, is that he has been declared fit by a panel of 6 psychiatrists and neurologists, and they've deemed that he's fit to fight, so it's purely up to the Nevada Boxing Commission there. But the rumour I have that he could be fighting Axel Schultz in December.
Do you think the sport needs Mike Tyson?
I think they do at this time, yeah. He's still the biggest draw card in the world, without doubt. Even though his conqueror, Evander Holyfield's a very good fighter and proved he was been better on the nights that he's fought him, he doesn't draw the same attention that Mike Tyson does.
And of course, Tyson is now 32 years of age, so he's no spring chicken. His peak years were probably in his early 20s. You've got to wonder whether he still has the physical abilities to go on and win the title.
Yeah, I think if he can sort of get himself once he gets keen to train properly again, I think he quite easily get back there to the top again.
And Holyfield Lewis is back on the cards. Who would you think would win that fight?
I would think Holyfield should go in favour of that fight. I think he could maybe outwork Lennox Lewis over 12 rounds.
What about the size of Lewis? Do you think that could be a factor?
No, I think Holyfield's been in with big guys before. You know, he's fought Riddick Bowe, a lot of big guys, mate, and he's outworked him. I think that he deserves to go in favourite.
And Manfredi, well, he's pulled out of this fight with Shane Mosley. An interesting situation there. A very good fighter in his own right, Angel Manfredi, but perhaps realising his limitations.
Yeah, I think Shane Mosley would just have too much of everything for Manfredi. And the rumour is with Manfredi, he's going to go in against Floyd Mayweather, who's just defeated Gennaro Hernandez for the title.
Yeah, that'd be a fantastic fight. And of course, Justin Rousell is rated very highly in the IBF, which is a Shane Mosley title. It'll be interesting to see what happens there. Jeff Fenech says that he's not looking towards Mosley and that Justin wants to not just fight for the title, but actually win it.
Yes. Justin Rousell just improves with every fight, and Jeff Fenech's really got him punching with plenty of power these days. He's always been a very good boxer. Now he's got power to go with it.
Well, it's time for a break, but we'll be back to chat with Renato Cornet right after this.
Hurry to Harvey Norman for our $200,000 gift voucher giveaway and great electrical deals. Conditions apply. See store for details. This LG Electronics package deal. Huge 68cm stereo TV, 6-set hi-fi stereo VCR with G-code and cabinet, $14.95. We've cut $100 off our regular price on this Panasonic camcorder with 42 times zoom and colour viewfinder, now $9.95. We have the latest in broadcast quality digital camcorders with this Panasonic digital model, complete with bonus battery, spare tape and DV studio software, valued at $500.
Australian team will look to dominate Test 2 while the Irish seek revenge. Ireland play Australia, 6:30 Monday on Sports Australia, Channel 12.
Over the top.
Welcome back. IBF Pan Pacific lightweight champ Renato Cornet steps into the ring again next Thursday. He now joins us on KO. And Renato, how is training going?
It's not going too bad. I've been stepping it up in the last couple of weeks. I'm feeling pretty good.
And motivation, at your age, do you find it hard to motivate yourself to get up every morning and run and to go to the gym?
Well, motivation, to tell you, well, the last few fights, I've been motivated really. It's been coming pretty easy, mainly because I've got a goal and I think I'm in the right direction at the moment, you know.
Do you have a love of the sport?
Well, actually, yeah, I do. Nowadays I enjoy it a lot more than I did when I previously, before I retired. I enjoy it that much more because I'm in the gym. I know a little bit more, and I feel like like you said, I love it. I do love it.
Now, you've been around boxing quite a long time now. This is perhaps a question for both yourself and Ray. Do you think Australian boxing is healthy at the moment?
I actually, yeah, I do think it's healthy. The boys that are coming in the boxing game now are improving. They look like good little fighters. I mean, there's big boys and younger blokes. I mean, they're all pretty good. As far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I mean, Ray, you've got the magazine. I mean, what do you think?
Oh, yeah, I think we've got a lot of quality fighters at the moment, Mathew. There's around 15 guys that are rated in the world ratings. And I think in time, mate, we can knock off a couple of world titles.
And what about as far as like there's a lot of very talented fighters in Australia. Do you think there's a gap between what we see as a good fighter and say what the Americans see as a good fighter?
Oh no, as I say, mate, our guys, you know, we've got 15 guys up there in the world ratings, and those guys could appear on those shows overseas and win their fights over there too.
Do you see any areas needing improvement, Renato?
Well, the way I see it, the American fighters, the European fighters, I don't think the Australian fighters would have any problems against the European fighters. And with the American fighters, I think it's more, we just don't see enough of them. the Australian fighters. I mean, the coverage that Australian fighters get nowadays is not as much as the American fighters, for example, you know. I mean, it'd be good to see American fighters and Australian fighters fighting together. That way, both sides of the world would see what we see, you know.
What about training techniques as far as the trainers themselves? Do you think that perhaps our trainers need to become more educated on different styles and so forth, or do you think that that's adequate as it is?
Well, to tell you, well, I don't know. I feel our training methods are working pretty good. I mean, we wouldn't have, for such a small nation, we wouldn't have so many world-class fighters at the moment. When you look at the United States, every Joe Blow does boxing over there. And, you know, I mean, you're bound to have one world champion out of those, you know. But here in Australia, you know, 20 million, it's not a bad effort to get, what, 13 into the world ratings, you know.
And just looking back at your career, we see your last fight recently against Lincoln Stewart. Perhaps your best performance, you went into that fight, and we have overlay of it. You were a little bit sick going into that fight.
Yeah, well, on the Saturday before the fight, I caught the flu, and I tell you what, I felt really crook. On the Wednesday, coming close to the fight, I started getting a fever, and I thought, oh gosh, this is not a very good time to happen. But on the Thursday, I felt pretty good, and coming to the fight, I had to fight that way because Lincoln Stewart's a good little fighter, and he sort of outsmarted me in the first couple of rounds, and I changed my method.
What do you take away from a fight like that?
Well, apart from a few bruises and stuff like that, a little bit of experience. I think I needed a good tough fight like that because my last few fights have been sort of short, and Lincoln Stewart had a lot to show and a lot to what's called give. You know, I'm glad that Lincoln Stewart went the way he did, mainly because he's got a long way to go as well, you know. As long as he doesn't have too many hard ones like that.
Now, of course, you're fighting Colin Graham next. You're defending your IBF title. What do you know about him?
Well, nothing. I don't know much.
Is that a concern?
It's not really a concern. Look, all I know about him is he went the distance with Cheppy Holman and was rated number 4 in the world. That's one of the main reasons why they chose him to fight. And I just look at it that way. I just go in, take a fighter as a fighter. After that first round, mate, there's no looking back.
And Ray, of course, you would have been at that fight. It was a great fight, wasn't it? The one against Lincoln Stewart.
Tremendous fight, Mathew. Yeah, it's, I think it still rates as probably the best fight for 98 to date. And the way Renado's going, he's now number 13 in the world. And hopefully it won't be all that much longer before he gets another crack at the world crown.
And yeah, Renato, just finally, what does it mean to you? Does it mean that you will get a world title shot eventually?
Well, I do hope so. I mean, that's what I'm in the game for, to get that one more title shot. And hopefully this time things will be a bit different. My last title shot, they dragged it on for 6 months. I trained full 6 months for that fight. I burnt myself out. Now that I know the way I've done it, I won't do it again that way. I mean, I'd rather have a couple of weeks off than go through the same thing that I went through last time. So hopefully I'll get one more title shot, and with Ron Nash, and you know, they should pull me through it. And if I get the world title shot, I'll make Australia proud too.
Renato, best of luck and thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
And the card is set down for October 22 at the Rudy Hill RSL in Sydney's West. The undercard sees the Crampton brothers in action, Ben at junior middleweight and Jamie at welterweight, while the main prelim features the exciting prospect Lincoln Stewart, while in the main bout, Renato Cornet defends his belt against Colin Graham. A few weeks back, Oscar De La Hoya made his biggest payday to date when he fought